Hi, it's me, Tankola with Delicate Dark Girl, and today, as you saw, already saw the title, we don't have time for that. So I'm doing a voiceover because it was a lot to explain, but I didn't want to do a talk through because the video would be too long. So you see there, I'm using my regular foundation, but I'm mixing it with a blue-green eyeshadow. So you can use any blue-green eyeshadow you have. I'm using the one from this Juvia's palette, Juvia's Place palette, Zulu. I'm mixing it with the sea green color there to counteract me because I'm a little more warm to neutral, so the blues will help make my skin look a bit more like the Undead. If you're a bluer toned dark skinned person, I think you should go for more something that would counteract the blues. So I think that's yellow, don't quote me, but do something that will kind of sallow your skin out. So maybe get a green that's got more yellows in it, and that'll work for you. Okay, so anyway, you see I'm mixing more because it turns out I'm doing trial and error in this video for you. Okay, so this is my first time doing this on camera, and I didn't know. I was testing the color, as you see on my face already, and so now I'm just mixing more because I'm gonna need more, because it turns into kind of like a clayish, as you can see, a clayish consistency, but it feels really light on the face once it all gets on there. It's not too thick. It's not as thick. It doesn't feel as thick as it looks on the skin. Like it doesn't feel on the skin as thick as it looks there where you saw. I was adding a bit of that that lighter, that more iridescent blue because I wanted a little more blue. It was gave it more bluish green for me to fit my. That's why I was testing it first. I'm mumbling through this. Sorry, I haven't done a voiceover in like 4 years. So now I got the mixture just right, and I'm just putting it on with my hands, and then I realized it worked better with a sponge. It would spread more even, and I wouldn't have to make my hands even dirtier than before. Speaking of which, you'll notice those eyebrows, they're going to disappear. I was trying to make my eyebrows disappear kind of like I did in my unicorn video for my personal channel, but it didn't work this time. I used a different glue. It was a mess. So they're gonna come off and just be my eyebrows covered with the same foundation that I've made. But you see me blending it out all over my face, so we have some good coverage here. This is just the base of what's gonna be to make that kind of that undead flesh, that dead flesh kind of thing. That's why I needed those colors in there. And so this is what's gonna go. Here we are priming our face with color. Don't forget, this is the one time I'm blending something down to the neck in case you want to get creative and maybe with some black eyeliner draw some sutures on your neck, or you know, those little scars so it looks like your neck used to be not part of your head or not connected to your head. And this is me taking off those the eyebrow glue, because it didn't work this time. Anyway, I also blended it onto my ear a bit just for some continuity. So just like the bottom of the ear is fine. You can do the whole ear if you want, but then you can do the back of the ear and the back of your neck. You know, just go to town, put it wherever you want. And so now I'm putting my regular concealer. Not too much because it is a concealer and it will cover, but just enough to, you know, be the top coat. Pretty much. So it kind of looks like that green is inside, and it's like your flesh is pretty much dying from within. It sounds a little morbid, but okay. So like I said, I was pretty much testing this as I was doing it, so I'm your tester, and I'm liking how it worked out, but I still think that it was a bit too sci-fi green, so I really wanted it to look more, like I said earlier, from within. So I'm going over it with a little more concealer, but not too much so that I lose all the coloring that I put effort in as the base. And then there we have it. And if you're anything like me, you gotta put your glasses back on to check out the coverage. And right now it's looking pretty good. It's halfway down the neck in case I wanted to put little sutures there. And I'm bringing you guys closer so you can see it in better light without the shadow. I don't have like lighting. Anyway, so now I'm taking this Too Bright concealer that I still have for some reason. Whatever, it's here and now it's useful. So you know, we've all been there, you know, getting that concealer that was super bright because we thought we were supposed to. You know, really, you can do whatever you want, but it works great right here in this instance. Just putting it on the normal highlighting points. So for me, that's the front of my cheeks, down my nose bridge, and my forehead, and where I usually don't put it on the chin. But yeah, so I'm just gonna blend that out or whatever. I'm using my hand a bit to help warm it up, make it go faster. Because that's the same puff with the green and the concealer on it, by the way, so that it all can just come together. So now it's all blended out. Yeah, undead flesh. Woo. And then you got the powder because there's a lot of cream on the face. If you have dry skin, maybe you don't have to powder, but if you have oily or combo skin, you want to powder the areas you know get oily or where you don't want them to be. For me, I'm doing my whole face in this instance. So then, out of my e.l.f. palette, which most people probably don't have, I don't even know if they make it anymore, but it's a little black book, the warm edition. I was using this, it's like a brownish, a really deep brown, grayish color eyeshadow. It's almost grayish brown. So if you have anything like that, or if you just have like a really deep gray, you can use black too. So I was using that one because it was kind of colored with me. So I'm taking it down the bridge of my nose and everything, and under my brow bone, or on the brow bone, really. Like the places you would normally highlight right there on the brow, I put it in shadow so that it can look more sunken in around the eye. And I followed the natural line of my nose so that it will look naturally sunken in and sallow. I don't want to do contouring of my nose, even though I don't do it anyway. But if you're someone who contours the nose, try not to contour in the way that's slimming your nose. Just follow your natural nose lines so that you look naturally sallow with the shadowing. And then I did a little bit on the cheek as well. Listen, if you come from my personal channel, and my contouring has gotten so much better, even if it is for something like Undead Flesh. So now I'm going to tightline only the top of my eye because you just want it to be, again, a little deeper. I'm going to bring you guys a little closer so you can see. Ooh, right up in the mouth for bang. Now, I used a red lip liner. That's from Wet n Wild. Lip liner is the easiest to use, but you can also wet a brush with some fixing spray and use red eyeshadow. I used that a long time ago in a Banshee video. Again, on my personal channel, so it has nothing to do with this. But this is the upgrade because it's a red lip liner and it went on super smooth. You know, it's Wet n Wild. I don't know. It's also very affordable. And then I'm just taking a concealer brush because it's little and putting some more of that black right at the top lash line. And I just added a bit more red. You can make it as red as you want on the bottom. And honestly, I think you could put the liner there and then also maybe put some even redder eyeshadow on it. That would also look nice, and it would help it probably stay. Even though that didn't really budge. So anyway, so you see I pulled you in so you could see I'm not just only putting it on the waterline, like the inner waterline, but the outer waterline. So right where the lashes come out, I'm also putting the red. I'm smearing it there so that it really just looks, you know, as decayed as possible. And then take a little brush, smudge it out so it looks more smudgy. You gotta smudge everything, or what people call blend. You know, just blend it. But since this isn't supposed to be blending into anything, it's more like a smudge. Ta-da! Bing! Now, I was thinking of what to do next. So I decided on mascara. And then I went back into that same one that we used to contour, and I put it on the eyelid because I felt like the eye needed to be, I needed more depth. So I put the same color I used to contour on my eyelid. So whatever color you use to contour, and make sure it's a cool contour, not a warm one, unless you're already cool toned. Then you want to counteract that. Maybe you use a warmer one so you'll look more sallow. And if you're neutral, you can do what I did, because I'm like neutral, warm, neutral. And then I wanted to do a more dynamic lip. You can do whatever color you want. You could do black, but I put Cyber on, and then I put black eyeshadow, the Chad eyeshadow from Juvia's Place. I use that, but you can use any black eyeshadow. And I put that over top so it had a little dimension. But you ain't gotta do all that. You could just put on black lipstick, or if you have some sort of green, I think that would have also looked really good here. If I could go back, I could also change that to put some green, like a dark green. And that's it. You have your base undead zombie that can be anything from a vampire to a zombie to Miss Frankenstein.